Gerald Celente of the Trends Research Institute. In fact, right here I've got some of the latest Trends journals here in my hot little hands. Gerald, great to have you here. Thank you for joining us. What is your latest breakdown of what's happened as a victim of these hoodlums?
Well, it's another cover-up. If this was you or me or anybody out there listening, you know, they'd have us on Rikers Island by now, like they did with that Dominique Strauss-Kahn character from the former head of the World Bank when he was allegedly raped a hotel staff person, a maid. And Corzine just gets a free ride. I mean, let's go through this. This is what? November, December, January, February, what, 5 months later? And this guy still doesn't know what they did with the money. And now, of course, it's all coming out. And again, everyone that I spoke with, I know people in the business, everybody laughed at his testimony. And when you read now what the memos are saying, and Paul Watson did a great job on it, how the prostitutes are covering it up and saying things like, well, you know, there's no criminal charges here, and they're all running cover for him. You read what's going on here. The head of J.P. Morgan, the division, the chief risk officer, he called Corzine to receive assurances about the source of the money. The firm followed up with a draft letter for Mrs. O'Brien. That was the person within MF Global that transferred the money, to sign a statement stating that all past, present, and future transactions complied with federal regulations according to the memo. But Lori Ferber, the firm's general counsel, hey, I wonder if she was the same general counsel that guy Louis Freeh wants to give a bonus to for staying with this and straightening it all out. But anyway, she may be another general counsel, thought the letter was too broad. She wanted to limit its scope to transfers made on October 28th, the memo said. To make a long story short, they never signed the memo. And to make a long story very short, this thing's going back and forth and back and forth. Corzine's demanding that the money be sent over there. J.P. Morgan Chase knows it's a deal. They won't cover it, and they can't get a sign-off on it. And all of a sudden, $200 million is gone on this one deal. And now, you know what they say? Here is where the prostitutes really suck up. You know what they're saying? It was attributed to sloppy bookkeeping. Sloppy bookkeeping. How can they make this stuff up? No, it's all a cover-up. And you said it. This whole thing is crashing down. That's why they had the National Defense Authorization Act. That's why Obama signed that executive order a few weeks ago. That's why Holder, our esteemed Attorney General, just put through another law that allows the government now to watch every move we make, everything we do without a warrant. Without a warrant. Every bit of our private lives are now government data, and they could do what they want with it. And you know why? Because they know the whole thing is collapsing. And they know the natives are restless. They're restless in Spain. They're restless in Greece. They're restless in Romania. They're restless in the UK and Portugal. They're restless in Greece. They're restless in Ireland. And they're restless in the USA. And this thing is collapsing, and you said it. The money's not there. The gold is not there. And that guy Duffy that you mentioned, the head of the CME group that was making fun of people like me, calling us conspiracy theorists, how come nobody's holding his feet to the fire? How come nobody's replaying that videotape that I put out there over and over again with the 47,000 people in the media showing Big Mouth Duffy blowing out a lot of hot air about how the CME group, this is the exchange where all the commodities run through out in Chicagoland, but he's saying they have $100 billion in collateral to back such kind of incidents as the one we later saw with MF Global. Where's against $100 billion when they can't cover $1.6 billion. The whole game is rigged. It's a criminal operation from credit default swaps, auction rate securities, collateralized debt obligations, synthetic collateralized debt obligations, and how about an FU obligation?
Well said, and we do have that clip. We also have Duffy, and again, he's obviously a scallywag as well, but to his credit, blind hogs do find acorns, broken clocks are right twice a day. He did come out and say that Corzine did give the order to transfer the money, and you know, was the first to finally back off. So my point is, he did attack you, and the CME did attack you by name, but now they've been forced to back off and have admitted that you were right. So I'm wondering where this goes. I also want to look at this tungsten steel being found inside gold bars for the second time now out of Switzerland. This is big news. Stay with us. Here's one of those Terrence Duffy clips. There's a whole bunch of them where he's come out and said that, no, it was ordered by Corzine. Corzine, quote, knew as the CEO that they were ordering these sequestered accounts to be wired out of the country. Well, now the memos are out. It's confirmed he gave the order. No kidding. The former head of Goldman Sachs runs his own brokerage firm, MF Global, robs accounts, and he didn't know. And then the government, for the last 6 months, didn't know where the money went. When they know when you wire $1,000. I mean, this is outrageous. Let's go to a short piece of that clip and then back to Gerald Celente of TrendsResearch.com. Here it is.
CFTC and CME staff and auditors returned to the firm on Sunday, October 30th, and were informed by MF Global employees that this discrepancy was caused by, quote, an accounting error. Our auditors worked with the CFTC, devoted the rest of the day and night Sunday to find the so-called accounting error. No such error was ever found. Instead, at about 2 a.m. Monday morning, October 31st, MF Global informed both the CFTC and CME at approximately the same time that the shortfall was real and that customer segregated funds had been transferred out of segregation to the firm's broker-dealer accounts. After receiving this information, CME remained at MF Global while MF Global attempted to identify funds that could be transferred into segregation to reduce or eliminate the discrepancy. A CME auditor also participated in a phone call with senior MF Global employees wherein one employee indicated that Mr. Corzine knew about the loans that had made for the customer segregated accounts. CME Group has provided this information of these individuals to the Department of Justice and the CFTC who are investigating these matters.
All right, there you go. That's just part of the clip. Gerald, this is hiding in plain view. Why isn't he in jail right now?
Because he's a member of the White Shoe Boys Club. That's why. You know the word justice, J-U-S-T-U-S, just us. Have you seen a head roll from the Goldman Sachs gang? They get fined $550 million, and they don't have to admit nor deny that they screwed anybody. Have you seen anybody's head roll from Countrywide? Oh, you remember that one, that phony mortgage company over there that was raping us in front of everybody in the White House and in Congress? Have you seen one head roll from any of these major banks that committed the greatest financial fraud in the history of the universe? Hey, if you live in Wisconsin, I just read that if you make home-brewed beer, you have to keep it in your house, and you can't bring it to a friend's house to drink because it's against the law. And those little kids out there selling lemonade, get them off the street. First it's lemonade, and then it's heroin. I know, it's a heroin, lemonade. Yeah, it's all connected. Alex, it's fascism 2.0. The merger of state and corporate powers. What is it going to take people to see what's going on? Our new Trends Journal is coming out. The cover of the Trends Journal, will be out in a few weeks, is going to read, "Next Train to Auschwitz. All aboard." No need to worry about those calories. Kiss them goodbye.
Incredible, Gerald. We're going to go to break, and a long segment's coming up. I want to get into a host of issues. But when you speak about fascism, I've looked at the numbers. I've had countless economists on, trends forecasters like yourself. It's clear. There's no way to get out of this unless the banksters all go to jail, unless we write off all their fraudulent derivatives. Instead, they're clearly establishing a high-tech police state to use the crisis to take over our lives. We're going into a hot tyranny. This is not just going to be good old boy corruption.
No, you're right. It's happened. Again, how many laws have to be passed before people realize there's no Constitution left? And that's why the Trends Journal is going to be next train to Auschwitz.
Well, it seems that there's nothing that these banksters can't or won't do. And I want to discuss solutions to this and how you think we'll get out of it. I also want to bring up some news items to you that tie into all of this. On the other side, Gerald Celente is our guest. I want to be clear from reading declassified British and U.S. psychological warfare manuals, Soviet psychological warfare manuals, Nazi psychological warfare manuals, Edward Bernays, who advised the Department of War and then Department of Defense, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, probably more important even than Sigmund Freud. They all write books that I've read and quoted here on air. You can go read this, about habitualization. Habitualization. It's just like cigarettes. They say it's not even so much the nicotine. That's part of it. It's that you're doing something with your hands. Wanting to smoke the cigarette, getting you in the habit. They get you in the habit of the TSA sticking their hands down your pants. People say, I used to hate it, but now I'm just used to it. Well, now they're getting you used to taking your bank account. And all over the country, from San Francisco to New York, they're announcing tolls to ride bicycles and to walk. They're announcing all over the country that the police want to inspect gardens because you might be growing drugs. All over the country, they're setting up federally mandated checkpoints that are totally illegal, not just 4th Amendment, but 10th Amendment. What are the feds doing that for? It's not their jurisdiction. So the system is racing to habitualize us or condition us or acclimate us, use whatever word you want, to get us accustomed to this. I went to Walmart last night because I hadn't been to one in years. And they had film for a Polaroid-style camera so my grandmother can take pictures. She doesn't know how to run computerized cameras. And all the other, there's a few little shops, so I guess they weren't carrying it. So I went in there, and almost all the checkouts are now self-serve. And I noticed it took them longer than even longer lines with a human. So again, it's all about control. And this system is racing into place. And we as a society are in deep trouble. Going back to Gerald Celente of TrendsResearch.com, who was robbed by MF Global, we see them racing. We see communist China saying we can now secretly arrest and disappear people because America does it. So now the communist Chinese leadership that perches on top of the hardworking, smart Chinese people as parasites, they're now using America as their pretext to fully do things they wouldn't have dared do before. I mean, I don't think people realize, as you're saying, just how evil and what an abomination our country's become, Gerald.
Again, it's in front of everybody, but the prostitutes don't report it. They barely reported on the NDAA that was signed on New Year's Eve. They barely reported on Obama's signing that last executive